All righty. So now that we have our GitHub set up, we need to actually figure out a way to connect to our GitHub, which is not as cut and dry as it might sound. Fortunately, we have a little bit of help for you. So the very first thing that we got to do is this git config stuff. So all this is doing is it tells my computer, by typing these commands into my terminal, it tells my computer, hey, what do you want your email to be? Hey, what do you want your username to be? So we have to manually configure that ourselves. What I like to do is I like to create a new file. So let's go ahead and create a new file. We'll call it playground.txt because it's just going to be a text file. And I want to open that up in VS Code so that way I can edit it. So I'm going to type in code and then playground.txt. So now that I've done that, I should just have a playground file that I could use. Now it looks like I actually already had one. So that's why it has an email already in here. What we're going to go ahead and do is we are going to now input our email that we used to create our website or to create our GitHub. So since my GitHub was jjhiggs3000@gmail.com, there we go. I have my global user email configured. And then I believe that my username was jjhiggz2. So with that configured, all I got to do, I don't really need to give that a save, but I did. And then what I have to do is I have to copy all of that. And that's exactly what's going to go in my terminal. So I type in this. And now it's saying globally, my user email is going to be this jjhiggs3000. And globally, my username is going to be jjhiggs2. So now if I run any git commands from my computer, when I run those, it knows that my username and my user email are these. So the next step here is where it starts to get a little bit gnarly, but it shouldn't be too bad if we just walk through it slowly. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this how to add an SSH key. We're just going to assume that you don't have one. And so the very first thing that we have to do is we have to run this command. So the problem is with this command is that this command needs your email. So again, what we're probably going to do is we're just going to go into this playground just so that way we can edit this text. It's probably better to do it in here than in a software like Notes or Microsoft Word or a Google Doc. There's a good reason for that, which is that not all of the characters actually are the same. In other words, in Google Doc, here, I'll show you. Watch this. I'm going to copy and paste this from here into a Google Doc just for the sake of argument here. Let's see. If I go to docs.google.com, well, I don't know what this doc is. docs.google.com. Let's see. And if I create a blank document, and if I paste this in here, this is going to seem maybe a little crazy at first. Oh, I didn't copy it. Whoops. Bam. Well, I don't know why that doesn't want to paste. Let me try right-clicking it. I think it's because of a setting I have in here. Copy. Paste. There we go. Okay, so here it worked fine, but I want to show you all I'm doing is replacing these quotes with quotes, and I'm going to copy it and paste it back. And I want to show you something a little bit crazy. So if you look here, you see how these quotes here, let's make it huge. Do we see how these quotes don't actually look the same as these? This is like a weird thing that you don't realize that your like, if your document editor does, which is it converts these things called like regular quotes, double quotes is what they're called, and it converts those to what we call typographer's quotes. Basically, long story short, you're going to be a lot better off if you do this inside of code instead of in like a document editor. Anyways, now that we're here, all we got to do is change back this email. So I'm going to change it to this jjhiggs3000@gmail.com. Bam. And now I need to copy this over and paste it into my terminal. So Command C, And then I'm going to open up my terminal using, again, Command space, paste it here, bam, and it's doing some stuff. It asks me which file to save the key. I go for the default, so I just go ahead and press enter. Overwrite, yes, absolutely. And then enter a passphrase. So if you want, you can enter a passphrase here. Right now, I'm not going to, so I'm just going to press enter instead of entering a passphrase, and bam, it generated an SSH key. Now, the next step to this, we actually just did all of these steps, which is pretty nice. The next step to this is we have to run the SSH agent. And in order to do this, all we do is copy this line of code, run it, bam, done. The next thing that we have to do is we have to modify our SSH config file. So this is in a Mac, you're probably going to have to do this. By now, you probably have Mac OS Sierra or higher, so you're probably going to have to do this part. And you see how they have open squiggly line SSH config? Open is actually the command that is in default to open a file, but we actually have VS Code now, so we can just use code and then squiggly line. That squiggly line, by the way, is called a tilde, and then tilde slash .ssh slash config. We open this up, and now basically the thing that you had to do was paste this in here. I already did this, so let's go ahead and delete it and repaste it in. So where we get this from is right here. We copy it, we paste it here, we give it a save, and now we just keep following along with this. So now we have to run this line of code in our terminal. Before we run this line of code, though, I really want to clarify that you need to save this file first. You need to save this config file first. So please do that. Alrighty. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead, go back to your terminal. Whoops, wrong terminal. We are going to paste this command, Command V again. Bam, it added my identity. Great. So now the last step here, which I actually already know how to do, I don't actually need to follow along with this tutorial, is that we have to add our public key to our account. So what we're going to do is we want to make sure that we are in our home directory here. If you're not in your home directory, you can just type in CD and press enter, and it will take you to your home directory. Now what I want you to type in is code.ssh. And what this does is it opens up our SSH folder and gives us access to all of the different stuff. The file that we care about is our pub file. I need to get rid of this walk-up thing. And what we're going to do is we are going to copy this whole line of code, or actually what you could do is you could press Command A to highlight everything, and then Command C to copy it. And this is actually the last step right here. So you're in the home stretch, baby. You're right there. All right. So here's what we got to do. Go to github.com, go to your account. And this is actually the wrong account here. Hang on a second. I need to make sure I'm at this one. This is, cool. Here we go. Sign in as JJ Higgs 2. And you want to go to your settings. So you click here, and we are going to go to the SSH and GPG keys, new SSH key, and we are just going to paste that thing that we had from our VS Code. Now we're going to go ahead and type it in. We're going to say, hey, this is, or we don't need to do this is, but this is going to be my my JJ Higgs to computer Mac, whatever. So now if I do this, what you should be good to go. So this would be a strong sign that you are good to go, but we need to test it first. So what we need to do is just find a popular repository and clone it down. So let's go ahead, and I am going to look up a very popular repository. We're going to go to JJ Higgs, and then we're going to go to JRS computer setup. Whoops. So github.com/JJHIGGZ/JRS-computer-setup. We're going to go here, And if I was right, then what I should be able to do is clone this down. To clone it down, what we're going to do is we are going to hit this code button. We are going to click on .ssh. We're going to click on this keyboard, this little clipboard, I mean, and that actually just copies it to our clipboard. So we don't actually have to hit control. We don't actually have to hit command C. We don't need to save our changes to our playground. So I'm going to get rid of that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just type in git clone and then paste that here. Oh, whoops. We need to overwrite it. So I need to, you won't need to do this. But now we should be able to type in git clone, paste that link. And if we did everything right, then we should have cloned this down into our computer. So if I type in code JRS computer setup, bam, we're in, we are good to go. You made it. This was the toughest part of the install, and it was also the last part of the install. So congratulations, if you've made it this far, you're ready to go. You are ready to go learn how to code, and you won't have to do any shitty installs for a good while here. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it if you made it this far in the video, and I hope everything works out for you. Looking forward to being your instructor.